Alright, we're going to continue looking at angles, but now we're going to look at when we have parallel lines involved with angles. One key vocabulary word here is the word transversal. A transversal is a line that intersects at least two other lines at different points. And if you look at the drawing here, can't really see that well, but this is actually a letter T. And remember, lowercase letters are reserved to name lines, so T intersects line L and M, and they're at different spots. So line T is the transversal in that drawing. Alright, so looking at this drawing, we've got three lines. We've got the black line, which is named with lowercase t, that intersects two other lines at different points, so that's the transversal. The pink lines are just other lines. So if we're looking, and when these lines intersect, they form special types of angles, and listed here are a bunch of angles that we can identify. If you look at the interior angles, interior means you look at the two lines that are not the transversal. So lines A and B. What's in between? What angles are in between lines A and B? And that would be angle 3, angle 4, angle 5, and angle 6. Of those interior angles, which ones are on the same side of the transversal? Well, that would be angle 3 and angle 6. So that's a pair of angles. And the other pair is going to be angle 4 and angle 5. Those are same side interior. Now, if we're looking at alternate interior, those are the angles that are in the interior, inside the two lines A and B, but they're on alternate sides of the transversal. So that would be angle 4 and angle 6. Also, another pair would be angle 3 and angle 5. Exterior angles are if you're looking at lines A and B, what's on the outside of them, what's exterior of them. That would include angle 1, angle 2, angle 7, and angle 8. Looking at same side exterior, those are the angles that are just exterior, so outside A and B, and they're on the same side of the transversal. So that would include angle 1 and angle 8 as a pair, and also it would include the pair angle 2 and angle 7. Looking at alternate exterior angles, you're looking at, again, angles that are outside of lines A and B, and they're on alternate sides of the transversal. So an example of that would be angle 1 and angle 7. Another pair would include 2 and 8. Angle 2 and angle 8. Corresponding means if you take one set of the four angles and put it right on top of the other, what's in the same location? So one pair would be angle 1 and angle 5. We would have angle 2 and angle 6. Okay, as a pair. We would also have angle 4 and 8. And the last pair of corresponding angles would be angle 3 and angle 7. Running out of space over there. Alright, so if we know a transversal, in this case line N, intersects two parallel lines, L and M, and to indicate parallel lines, you'll see symbols sometimes drawn on the lines like this, where they give like little arrows. That would mean that they are parallel. If that is true, then corresponding angles are going to be congruent, and alternate interior angles are going to be congruent. So we're going to keep those rules in mind as we go through and find these missing angles. And earlier we talked about vertical angles being congruent. So we're given that angle in there, which would be angle 8, is 100 degrees. So I'm going to fill that in down here. Well, angle 8 and angle 6 are vertical angles. So that is going to make that 100 degrees. So angle 6 is also 100 degrees. If we know that lines are parallel, we know corresponding angles are congruent. Well, 2 and 6 correspond. So that's going to be 100 degrees. So angle 2 is also 100 degrees. Well, angle 8 and 4 correspond. So those are going to be 100 degrees. Or that one's going to be 100 degrees. So angle 4 is also 100 degrees. If you look at angle 6 and 7 together, they make 180 because they're supplementary, they make a straight line. So if angle 6 is 100, that makes angle 7 80. Angle 7 and 5 are vertical, so that makes this 80. So angle 5 is 80 degrees. Angle 3 and 5 are alternate interior, and as it says above, they're congruent if the lines are parallel. So this is also 80 degrees for angle 3. And 3 and 1 are vertical, so we can say that those are 80 degrees. So if you have parallel lines that are cut by a transversal and you know one of the angles, you can find out all the other measures as well.